I am not dating a Hebrew Israelite. I'm never doing it. Tierra L. I don't care about affirmative action. I just hate the people who are canceling it because they think it will hurt Black people. Okay, so the phone line is already open if anybody wants to call. The phone number is on the screen. Okay, it's been a minute. I'm kind of nervous though because again, I haven't been live in so long. People don't even know that I'm live and I'm trying to do call-ins and I want to get the call-ins started again like I used to. Usually I'm sometimes will notify you in the community section if I have an upcoming call-in show the same day or the same week. Okay, so as you can see, oh, hold on for a second. Hold on, y'all. Okay, this just broke today. Affirmative action is gone. The Supreme Court has ruled against it. Supreme Court guts affirmative action in college admissions. No longer will you be getting in to colleges based on race. Is this good or bad? Affirmative action was started. Now, this happened before I was born, but from what I know, the point of affirmative action was because jobs and colleges were discriminating against Black people and women and all types of stuff, but largely, it was Black people. They were discriminating and you couldn't get in, even if, I guess, your grades were good, but they didn't want Black people there. And it was unfair. It affected many Black people's lives, not being able to have access to the better schools and jobs, and it affects your employment and the way you're seen and stuff like that. So a lot of people are happy about it. I know that Asian people, from what I have heard, they were upset about affirmative action. They believe they weren't getting into colleges because of affirmative action and that Black people were getting in ahead of them and they were being pushed out, and they wanted affirmative action to end a lot of Asian people. So they got their wish. And there are a number of people who are against affirmative action, but I feel torn about it. I mean, it protected people to be able to get into schools who probably were qualified, places that was racist and didn't want certain people in their school. Now they can freely discriminate without being held accountable. I don't know. I could be wrong. I don't know that much about it, to be honest, except that it was there to help Black people, women, disabled people, other groups of color get into schools where they had a quota where, okay, you can't just discriminate. No, you have to have a certain amount of this and that in your school, and no more being discriminated against people and stuff like that. That's what I thought. Okay. So I want to read to you what they've said. Okay, let's see. Hold on for a second. I'm trying to get the affirmative thing. Okay, let's see. This is what's on CNN. Candace says, don't go anywhere where they need a quota. It's the worst place to be. But did Black people take advantage of it when it was there, specifically Black men? I believe so. I mean, Black men at large don't go to college as much as Black women. I mean, how could they take advantage of it? I mean, if the school is not going to let you in, they're not letting you in. I can't determine if the school is going to accept me. They have to determine that. Okay, let's see what CNN says. The Supreme Court says colleges and universities can no longer take race into consideration as a specific basis for granting admission. A landmark decision overturning long-standing a landmark decision overturning long-standing precedent that has benefited Black and Latino students in higher education. Now, people will say, see, now it's all about, are you good enough? Are you good enough? But I know people are not going to like me saying this, but you can be good enough and still not get in if they don't want your black ass in there or your Latino ass in there. There have been many studies showing jobs getting caught saying, do not hire any black people. Even if they're qualified, don't let them in. This is what happens when you don't have the power and you don't run your own shit. You don't know what somebody can do to not let you in. We shall see what happens from this at the end of the day, right? Okay. Chief Justice John Roberts wrote the opinion for the conservative majority, saying the Harvard and University of North Carolina admissions programs violated the Equal Protection Clause because they failed to offer measurable objectives to justify the use of race. He said the programs involved racial stereotyping and had no specific endpoint. The Harvard and UNC admissions programs cannot be, let me make this bigger, y'all. Y'all know I got glasses now. The Harvard and UNC admissions programs cannot be reconciled with the guarantees of the Equal Protection Clause. Both programs lack sufficiently focused and measurable objectives. Okay. Strong dissents. All right, let's see. While I am painfully, hold on for a second. Okay. While I am painfully aware of the social and economic ravages which have befallen my race and all who suffer discrimination, I hold out enduring hope that this country will live up to its principles so clearly enunciated in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States, that all men are created equal. Listen to me. As much as, listen, it's not true. I'm a swirl of saying this to you. It's not true. Equality is not actually completely real. We know this because every month companies are getting caught specifically telling their recruiters do not hire black people or something else. I'm sorry to say this. It's painful to have to say that, but it's true. It's not 100% equal. You're hoping this. Who said this? Clarence Thomas. We can fix the country, but we're all going to have to be honest here. Are some people racist and have discriminate against black people and other groups of people? Yes. Do some people, are they fair and don't do that? Yes. But to just say that it's not happening or you believe we're all going to live up to the Declaration. No, that's not true. It ain't never been true in history of this country. That's reality. That's a fact. There was a black woman who applied for over 300 jobs, qualified, didn't get a call back, changed her race to white, and then got calls back. And we can do that all day, every day, but once you show up to the interview, clearly I'm not white. So, all right. Let me read this again, what Clarence Thomas says. Clarence Thomas, who is hated so much by a lot of people. He says, while I am painfully aware of the social and economic ravages which have befallen my race and all those who suffer discrimination, I hold out enduring hope that this country will live up to its principles so clearly enunciated in the Declaration of Independence. Yeah, the Declaration of Independence was written when we were still considered 3/5 of a person and all that other stuff. It wasn't talking about black people. But anyway, I get what he's saying. Constitution of the United States, that all men are created equal, are equal citizens, and must be treated equally before the law. And I agree with that. It should be that way. It should be. Okay? Says Clarence Thomas. Justice Sonia Sotomayor, joined by Justice Elena Kagan and Ketanji Brown Jackson, issued a fiery dissent saying the opinion rolls back decades of precedent and momentous progress. You can't say that yet. You can't say it until you see the results. I cannot say this is a good decision until I see the results. If there's change, if we see that more Black and Latino and women are being discriminated against, now that places can freely discriminate now without being caught or being held accountable, then we'll see. So, okay. I mean, again, like Clarence said, I'm hoping their asses still aren't racist and will be equal to people. That's hope. That's not you're not in control and in power to decide that. I can't make a company hire somebody they don't want to hire, or tell recruiters only hire women, only hire white people, only hire Asians. Okay. All right, let's see. Hold on for a second. The result of today's decision is that a person's skin color may play a role in assessing individualized suspicion, but it cannot play a role in assessing that person's individualized contributions to a diverse learning environment, Sotomayor wrote. That indefensible reading of the Constitution is not grounded in law and subverts the 14th Amendment's guarantee of equal protection. Let me see the chat. Says, there was supposed to be various reasons why a person was admitted to a university. Maria T says, yes, but Black people come from poorer backgrounds, so for them to come to the same level as white people is a big deal. Even HBCUs are changing. Say Was Here says, I'm going to have to wait and see what happens next. I have my theories, but they're just theories. Hello Hey says, now age, gender, and race shouldn't be unconstitutional on a job application. Okay. Let's go to the next article. Let me make this bigger. The 14th Amendment. In a demonstration of the controversial nature of the case, justices read their dissents from the bench for the first time since 2019. The devastating impact of this decision cannot be overstated, Sotomayor said while reading a synopsis from the bench. Damn. Okay, so Sotomayor, I hate that last name for reasons you know why, a certain person here on YouTube. She says the devastating impact of this decision cannot be overstated. In ending her dissent, Sotomayor quoted Dr. Martin Luther King, attempting to end the opinion on an optimistic note. Okay, let me see what she said if it's on the next article. Okay. In an ending dissent, Sotomayor quoted Dr. Martin Luther King, attempting to end the opinion on an optimistic note. Let's keep our hopes up with this. She says, as has been the case before in the history of American democracy, the arc of the moral universe will bend towards racial justice despite the court's effort to impede its progress, she said. Sotomayor pointedly did not use the customary language, I respectfully dissent. In her own dissent, Jackson, the only Black woman on the bench, accused the majority of having a let them eat cake obliviousness, and how the ruling announced color blindness for all by legal fiat. So, where is that main picture? Give me a second. So listen, call in. Anybody want to call in? Excuse me. What is your opinion? Do you think this is good or bad? I mean, I'm all about reality. The reality is that companies still do discriminate against people. And now they've gotten rid of the laws to say you cannot discriminate based on race. I don't see, I mean, that's just how I see it. I do believe you just don't let random black and Latino and women in just because I'm black or Latino. No, am I qualified? Am I qualified? Then I can get hired. But there are many companies who do in fact discriminate, even if you have the education, even if you're overqualified or qualified, you know. Hello, hi.
Hello, is this Cerebral?
Yes, how are you? If I'm on speaker, take me off because I can't hear you that good. It's a little muffled.
Can you hear me better now?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question that's slightly a bit off topic.
Okay.
And I'm going to leave because I know that there are other people that want to specifically talk about the Supreme Court and the decision that they made. I want to know, what are your personal thoughts on Clarence Thomas, just in general? Because I know that, the majority of black people in this country, they feel a way about him. I want to know what your thoughts are.
Now, I was a little girl when that whole scandal happened. I might not have even been born, but I heard about it and I grew up. I always knew black people didn't like Clarence Thomas, and I used to wonder, what is it? Because I would think you would be proud that a black man has made it to the Supreme Court, and they would always say he was an Uncle Tom and stuff, and I never understood why. Now, I did hear about I think Anita Hill, supposedly he sexually harassed a black woman. Um, I don't know if it was true or not. This was, I think, before I was born, or maybe when I was just a little baby. So I don't know all the details, but a lot of people believed Anita. But I never really heard that many people talk about Anita that much. They were always saying he's a sellout, he's an Uncle Tom. I don't know if he has a white wife. I don't care if he has a white wife, but I never understood why he was called an Uncle Tom. I mean, this is a black man in the Supreme Court helping run the country. I don't understand what would make him an Uncle Tom. What kind of laws has he agreed with that has gone against black people? Maybe someone in the chat can tell me, you know.
There
Um,
are, not to cut you off, I apologize, but there are some black people that have said that he hasn't done a thing for black people, and neither has Obama. And I wanted to know, do you agree with that?
yes.
Do you think Clarence Thomas is like the same as Obama in terms of politics?
Well, when I said yes, let me calm down. Personally,
You don't
me.
have to calm down. I usually love it when you go off. It's funny.
Well, look,
Especially when you start to curse, it is so hilarious.
I personally don't know what black people even want. When I hear them talk about a black agenda, like, black people have not presented a plan on what do you want in law, legally, a bill that specifically affects black people. I have yet to hear it. The government cannot stop black men from unaliving the men, women, and children. They cannot stop out of wedlock pregnancies, especially amongst poor women, which continues you getting poorer. They cannot help it that you don't teach your children how to read and don't help them become good students. They cannot help the incarceration rate. Those are personal, some people could say even spiritual issues that the government cannot fix. Did Obama do anything for black people? No, he didn't. He has no legacy regarding black people. What he did was make gay marriage legal for gay people. He has a legacy for helping gay people. He does not have a legacy for helping black people. And I'm not saying that to diss him. I don't hate Obama, but if I'm going to be real with you, did Obama do anything? He's not African American. He's not. That's fine. I'm just stating a fact because a lot of black American people saw him as the one. He's not African American. He did not, if an African American had won the presidency, they would have been throughout the streets of America in black neighborhoods. It was, I ain't even want to get into that. Michelle Obama is the.
I think that
Michelle Obama is the African American who made history getting in there as the first lady. Obama has an African father and a white mother. He is classified under the black race. Yes, he is. And I know that's a whole debate. You know, I don't have an issue with him. If we saw him on the street, come on, we would think he's a black man. His experience has been a black man and all that. But did he do anything specifically to help African Americans? No, he didn't. Was there an agenda presented by black African American people? No. There isn't. I don't know. Black people have yet to say what it is that you want. What is it that you want? Do you want more money in poor black neighborhoods? Given to who, and what you gonna do with it? What's the great plan? No plan has been presented. Did Clarence Thomas do anything specifically for black people? Again, his position is to help run laws of the country. That's his job. What laws can get passed? Black people, what have they presented to Clarence Thomas to fix black America? I don't think they presented him with anything, and I don't even know if he has that much power like that. You know, his job is to help pass laws and all of that. Okay, go.
I'm going to ask you another question. And it'll be like my last question because I need a direct answer. I love your commentary on black culture and where it's at. I want to know, have you ever done a show where you touch on the fact that there's a cultural issue, and when you, as a black person, you're not supposed to call that out, because once you call that out, people are going to call you elitist or it's respectability politics. Have you ever done a show on that? And if you have, can you tell me like names so I can watch it?
I haven't done one specific show on it, but I have talked about it multiple times on various videos where we're just talking. And I have said it before, we have a cultural problem and that black people refuse to let certain things go. That's why the race continues to be the way that it is. I had one video, it might not be up, where I said, it's not where you live, it's how you live. And I got cursed out over it, where I mentioned the hood and how the hood don't have to be bad. The hood can be a paradise. It's nothing wrong with living in Section 8. There's nothing wrong with living in the projects. The projects isn't bad because it's the projects. The projects are bad because mainly black men are knocking out the lights, peeing on the floor, littering everywhere, gunfire, random gunshots, killing up babies, women, and men. That's why it is the way that it is. And I got cursed out because they refuse to understand it's not white people. It's not, it's a character. It's a cultural problem. And no one wants to pull out, no one wants to take the trash out. And that's the problem in the black community. We all just want to be black and all like each other. That's not reality.
I'm going to get off now. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Thank you. I hope that I answered her questions good. Okay, excuse me. My nose was itching. Hopefully I answered that question good. Hopefully. Y'all let me know in the chat. So the phone line is open if anybody wants to talk about this decision to end affirmative action. Is this good for black people, other minorities? I know Asian people are celebrating today because they were seriously against affirmative action. Okay? They really felt, from what I've seen, that I'm not getting in. I'm not getting into colleges because, damn it, these damn black people are getting special treatment than me. And I've seen several videos today of people saying all those people who thought they didn't get in because of black people are going to find out, no, you didn't get in still, and you're still not getting in because you were not qualified to get in. So we'll see what happens from this. The projects is unnatural to live. I don't think so. It can be, hello, Maria. The projects can be beautiful if the people just took care of it. Imagine what poor black people, how they could live if they actually took care of the neighborhood. Shit, projects can be beautiful and you paying low rent. But no, it's mainly the men that's the problem. The black woman can't get rest or feel safe in these projects because look at what's going on in Chicago, California, all over the damn place. It's not the women messing up the neighborhoods half the time. Hi, Maria.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Hey, so I don't know a whole lot about affirmative action, but what I know is this: if somebody has, the initiative and have a goal to go to college, particularly, a black woman or a black man, they're going to make a way. They're not going to allow this, overturning of affirmative action to stop them from pursuing their dream, particularly like in the specialized industry, like medical and attorneys. They have to get formal education. So if that's your goal, is your dream, you're going to keep knocking and keep showing up until you get that open door of opportunity. So you're not just going to let this stop you.
My thing is, though, is that we don't control the door. I mean, yeah, a lot of black women are at Ivy League schools and stuff like that, but I'm just wondering, now that this is happening, will they be admitted into these Ivy League schools and stuff like that? I'm nervous that discrimination is going to get worse. When I heard this, I don't know. I feel torn
Right.
about it.
And I understand, and completely hear with my heart what you're saying. I guess for me, the only true way to know if this is going to increase discrimination is to look at the metrics, to look at the statistics of enrollment, in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, because right now we don't know. And right now I feel like we're just kind of making assumptions. But it does concern me as well as, the younger generations who do want to come up and get educated. I'm blessed that I've already gone to school and graduate school, and I have no desire to go back to, a university. I'll get my certifications, so they don't stop that because I just pay for those. But then I do hear what you're saying. So I guess we would have to see the numbers to really know if this is indeed going to negatively impact blacks.
Okay. So, what did you go to school for?
So my undergrad is in business admin and my master's is in human resources, and I've worked in the human resource field for 15 years. And I also actually wanted to expand upon what you said about companies not hiring people or telling recruiters to only hire a particular white man or a white woman. I can tell you hands down throughout my career of 15 years, I started in HR when I was 22. Let me tell you, my first job, I was the only black in that HR department with 4 white women. And I was told point blank, if you cannot pronounce the name, or if you think our hiring manager is going to have a difficult time pronouncing the name, don't you dare move them up to the interview list. That was my first experience out of college.
I told you. I said this before. That's why black people, black women, and men stop naming your kids some crazy sounding shit.
Mm-hmm.
Stop doing
I
it.
heard you say that. Yes, I mean, of course, my name is Maria, and with my last name, I'm not going to say what my last name is, but with my last name, there was many times they were expecting a white woman to walk through that door, because one time they was like, "Who are you?" I'm like, "I'm Maria, so and so." They was like, "Oh, you're Maria?" "Yes, I am."
Or
So
a
I
Hispanic
know
woman.
based on that, yes, but based on the last name, they were expecting a white woman because my last name is more white than it would be considered Hispanic. So I remember experiencing that, getting that shocked look like, who are you and where did you come from?
Can I ask you something? Is it okay to change your name on the resume and the application, use a fake name? Would you do it? If your name is more ethnic and difficult to them, could you choose a name that sounds similar, but it's more, as they say, more American sounding or Western sounding and all that other? Even though we are Western, but
Absolutely. So,
okay.
yeah, I didn't mean to cut you off, but when I say absolutely, I would say yes, because you can use your preferred name. For an example, a lot of Indian people, and I know a young lady in particular who I worked with from Pakistan, legal name could barely fit on an application, but she went by a nickname that was very Americanized, and people called her by that name. I think it was like Shella or I don't know, Shella or Sheila, but that was not her government name that was on her visa or on her passport, and nobody questioned it. I would say, yes, it's okay to use your preferred name, but here's the issue with that is when you go through that background piece, you have to use your government name. That's the only thing that I would say could potentially be an obstacle.
Okay. You know, you have a job that I've always been interested in HR because you get to hire people. I mean, isn't it fun? You get to hire Black women if you want. I mean, you have more, it's powerful. Tell us about it. Do you enjoy it? I mean, do you hire people? You know?
So I love it I love being in the field, and that's one reason why I wanted to go into the field is because I didn't see a representation of someone who looked like me. So I decided to pursue that, advanced education to get my master's in HR. And for me, I love to have the opportunity to have a seat at the table to make those recommendations. And of course, for me, I'm always going to advocate for that educated and qualified Black applicant, hands down, always. And I have had managers to take my recommendations. But again, it's a recommendation because unless we're directly hiring for HR, we get a greater input versus hiring for IT or hiring for marketing and advertising. That's not my department, but I can give a recommendation.
Okay. So, so you went to college for business administration and you had your associates or your bachelor's or master's?
So my bachelor's is in business administration, and then my master's is a specialized master's in human resource management.
And I heard that the pay is really good. Is it true?
It is a lucrative pay. It is once you work your way with years of experience, and also on top of that, I have a SHRM certification, which is a Society for Human Resource Management Certified Professional Certification. So I did go back and get additional training and obtain that. So yeah, so
But
you can easily make six figures.
Now, can you work anywhere in HR, like maybe a hospital or a company, like anywhere you want to? Like,
absolutely. So my career started out in publishing. I worked at a newspaper starting out. Then from there, I actually moved to healthcare and worked in payroll in healthcare. And then from there, I moved to nonprofit for 7 years. And then I've even worked for companies like Amazon. I've worked in their HR department, and I've also worked in like the energy industry, like for power companies. So I've had a variety of, diverse different companies that I've worked for during those 15 years.
now, is it very, very stressful? Because I have heard this.
Yes, because, and here's where the stress come in, is when companies work on a lean, like, when I say lean, very few people doing one job when they're trying to cut costs. So if you're highly compensated, they're not going to have two people doing the same thing making six figures. It's normally going to be you, and you're going to wear multiple hats, and you're expected to be like a subject matter expert in all those areas. And you have to stay on top of deadlines and then make your presentations. Like for me, like the last 6 years, I've pretty much been doing onboarding. So I onboard the people, do new hire orientations, you cover the benefits and pension plans and everything. So you're doing it every week while staying on top of all your duties. You have to make sure they get enrolled in their benefits, the pension plan. You have to make sure, that payroll has all the information they need to make sure they get set up in the payroll system. So it's like you absolutely are wearing multiple hats, and you do get stretched thin. I did get exhausted and experience burnout. So, yeah, if you want me to talk about that, I can talk about that. And that actually led me to actually taking a 2-year sabbatical once I got burned out.
Okay. Okay. Well, I mean, that was good information. Anyone interested in HR, I'm still interested in HR. I would love to be able to help hire people. I mean, that's like a dream. You can change someone's whole life, you know? Now,
Oh, absolutely. And go ahead.
in HR, though, you can't decide how much they get paid, though, right? That's like someone higher than you.
Correct. And also it's based on the market and industry standard. If they're fairly basing their compensation on the market and industry standard and geographical region. So, certain areas get paid more, but I always tell people when they're negotiating, make sure you know what the market and industry standard is for the job that you're interviewing with, and also see what the competitor company is paying people in a similar role, so you can have that bargaining and negotiating power, because you want to see what your position is worth in the market.
Okay. Okay.
But I don't set it. Yeah, and we actually, in most companies I work with, we actually had hired a third-party company that does those market analysis, and we were doing them every 2 years to stay on top of it, to make sure that our compensation was fair in that market value. And many times once those analysis came back, we would get a bump. And so they would check it every April, and if they say, okay, well, this position is under $2,500, so people would get an immediate $2,500 bump just to put them at that market value for this one particular company I worked for. That's because the CEO that was one of his pride and joy initiatives of having his salaries up to market as opposed to our competitors.
Okay. Well, just listening to you, I know you know what you're talking about. This woman is knowledgeable, she's a hard worker, and she's about her money. So listen, I thank you for calling us.
So, I mean,
yes.
It's taking time. I mean, it doesn't come overnight, so let me tell you that. And I feel like I have to say a lot of times it's not easy. A lot of things have kept me up that night worrying about other people's problems, because that's one thing about HR. Know that you're in the solving other people's problems business. And remember, these problems affect their livelihood. So it's like, okay, I want to make sure that I'm making the right decision. So it can be stressful. However, you just have to know how to have a healthy balance and when to shut it off.
Now, let me ask you this. You mentioned that when you first started, they told you don't hire people with names hard to pronounce, more ethnic names. Now, 15 years later, have you seen a change, or do you still see these type of things going on?
So 15 years later, no, I don't see it as much. And just to clarify, I wasn't hiring. I was basically screening the applications. And then based on the guidelines and minimum qualifications that were sent down from the hiring manager, I would use that as a baseline and then move those people who met the minimum qualifications up to the hiring manager, who would then determine who he wanted to interview out of that qualified bunch. So I didn't have I didn't have the ability to say yes or no if they were going to get hired or not. I was merely just screening and passing them on.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you recommend that Black people put down white on an application?
I would say no, and here's why. That's an integrity issue, because you're being dishonest to start off with. The best way to work around that is to say, I prefer not to disclose.
You know what I would say? Look, the trans people saying they men and women, you can't tell me how to identify. I said I'm white.
Right.
I'm going to say, you can't tell me I'm not white. If I identify as white, shit, I got white blood. I'm white, damn it. You can't tell me I ain't white. I don't care what I look like.
Right. And do y'all remember that white lady who identified with Black? I think she was like a professor somewhere, and she was wearing her cornrows, and her mom outed her.
Yes, I heard about that. But you know what? It's getting to that point, and I feel like, you know what? If I say I'm white, damn it, I'm white, and ain't nothing nobody can tell me. You know what they gonna do? Oh God.
And I hear what you're at things from an integrity standpoint, because when it comes down to that final selection, they'll be like, okay, was she honest? And let me tell you this. I worked with a white woman. Well, I thought she was white. She was passing for white. I found out she passed for white. You wouldn't know that she was black until I saw her out with her biological dad, who was a very dark-complected black man. And I remember when I went and pulled her application, because she had applied twice in 1 year, that first time she put black, they didn't call her. But when she put white, that's when she got a phone call and got interviewed and got hired. Yeah. So I remember that case.
Yeah.
Because it stood out. And she passed for white. You wouldn't know. And this was in 2015, 2014.
Yeah. Numbers still do it because, I mean, it's unfortunately, this is how it is sometimes. They take advantage of the opportunity, and she tried black. They didn't call. She said, F it. If I can pass, damn it, okay. But in her personal life, she probably...
She was highly educated, and they still didn't call her when she put black. But 6 months, 7 months later, she applied for the same position with the same resume, because I was able to go look at what she submitted the first time versus the second time. There was no difference in her qualification. The only major difference was the second time around she put white. And I was like, are you kidding me? So I did see that firsthand, and that situation still stands out in my mind.
Yeah. You know, it's a lot that still do it. And I've never blamed them or looked at them badly for it. I understand why someone would, you know. It doesn't mean in her personal life she ain't claiming her ancestry, but in order to get ahead and to be treated fairly, sometimes that's what people historically have had to do. And it's a shame you still have to do that today. So.
Absolutely.
So
and she did well in the company. And from what I hear, she's still there. And she's moved up the ladder into like senior leadership. So it's working for her.
All right. So listen, I thank you so much for your call, girl.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
For all that you do.
Thank you.
Appreciate, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. We are proud of you as well. Keep doing your thing. All right.
Oh, thank you. God bless. Bye, y'all.
Bye. Oh, wasn't she sweet? Oh, God. Let me... Y'all. Okay. All right. So the calls is coming. Anybody else want to give your opinion about affirmative action? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? What I'm thinking, though, too, I'm up. And I kind of want to do another live after this. I normally don't like to do one live back to back because I want to give people time to see the previous live. But I want to talk about some news stories because I didn't finish it from the other day. There were so many stories I couldn't get through all of them. And I think I still want to talk about some of the things in the news. So I'm thinking after this, maybe in about half an hour, I might come back with some news stories. I have seen other people do that, though. Make videos, a lot of videos throughout the day. But I normally don't like to do that. But I might do that today. Says, my former HR sister was passing while she lived in New York. Yeah, I had some family members that passed. I think most black people in America got some family members that did that. The HR woman was light, but we could tell she was black. The sister's white man co-worker was scheduled to learn she was shocked to learn she was black, not white. Like I said, I usually can tell. It don't matter about the color. I can look at the hair, the root of the hair. I can look at the facial features. Even if, it's not hard to tell a lot normally. At least, for me, so. Okay, so I guess this is it for right now. These were the calls. I've been live for an hour, which is pretty good. I appreciate the calls that came through. again, make sure y'all are notified and hit the bell, because again, when you don't go live in a while, people do not get notified at all. And I think it's highly unfair the way the algorithm is and everything like that. So, I like to go live at different times, sometimes early, catch people at different times, afternoons, evenings, late night. You never know, you know. So, yeah, they got rid of affirmative action. They did that today. And it is getting a lot of different opinions online. Again, we shall see what happens from this. Again, like she said, the stats of what's going on and all of that, we'll see. We'll see if anybody's being discriminated against, people who are qualified, not getting into certain colleges. I heard also today about legacy admissions, where families who paid for their children to get into schools. You know, my grandfather, my granddaddy, my father, they went here, so I'm getting in. Oh, we paid the school. It's like the nepotism thing in Hollywood, where that's a whole different video, though, about nepotism babies. Like, I understand that when you have connections and your parents are certain people, you get more access. That's life, having connections and stuff. But I think it's unfair too to people who are talented who don't get the opportunity, because you don't hear about stories of people coming from the bottom anymore and making it big, like a true Hollywood story. You see mainly people who already grew up rich, who were the daughters or sons of actors and models, and then they become supermodels. And it's like, what happened to finding like the rare talents and stuff like back in the day? I'm not saying they can't get on either, but the stories, like Iman, how they found, how Iman was discovered, um, who else? Cindy Crawford, stuff like that. You just don't. And it's the same thing with the colleges. Like, yeah, okay, these students are getting in because their parents had money, they paid the school, but the people who really are qualified and want it aren't getting in because they're taking it up and they didn't even have to do anything. So it's not really fair either. I'm not going to say, I don't get it. You know, that's life and business, but it has to be some type of balance, you know. Let's see. Gooden's rated view says it's diversity gone just like that. Remember the Hollywood actress that got in trouble for paying to get her daughter in school? Yeah, that was like a year or two ago. But she was one of many. One of many. And, I didn't really get angry completely, because I feel like a lot of people would do it if you could, because it's going to ensure your child's future. But if it's running rampant and kids who are qualified, who had a dream, can't get in because that's running rampant, I don't think that's fair. You know, there needs to be some sort of balance. Again, with the nepotism models and stuff, I miss seeing real star stories of somebody who was an everyday person who worked hard, worked their way up and became a superstar. Now it's like everybody is just the son or daughter of somebody who was a star already, and they didn't have to do shit. Like, I'm not completely like upset about it, because I get it. But what about the other people who want the dream and who are working hard? It's not fair. Like, mix it up, because I know it's not going to 100% go away, but have some balance. You know what I'm saying? Everybody now was already connected with somebody rich and they can't even sing. Give me some real singers again. Give us some real talent. It's not all just about looks. You can give anybody a makeover. Can they sing? You know? So I guess that's all I want to say for now. I thank you all who joined me. I think I'm going to come back in like 30 minutes, maybe 30 to 45 minutes. And I want to talk more about things going on in the news and my opinion about it. We'll see. I can't promise, but that's what I want to do. So, all right, y'all. Thank you for joining me, baby. Thank you for the calls. Bye.